Welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to give you 47 introduction to psychology, true and false questions and answers. If you are a returning subscriber, I welcome you back to this channel. And if you are new and this is your first time, I urge you to view the videos in this channel and also to subscribe to this channel. You are free to write any comments or anything that you might wish to share with me, or anything that you think can help me improve this channel. You are free to write under the comment section. Feel free to share this video and any of the videos that are within this channel with others that you might feel may need it or might get help in viewing this content. Thank you so much, and without wasting much of your time, I urge you to view this video right up to the end. Thank you so much. Number one, psychology is a science never bases data on theory or intuition. True or false? And the answer is true. Psychology is a science, never bases data on theory or intuition. Remember, it's a science, and science is not based on intuition. John Watson believed that the mind can be objectively analyzed. Is this true or false? You can pause the video so that you can gauge your own understanding whether you know whether this is true or false. And the answer, this is false. He never believed that the mind can be objectively analyzed. Remember, John Watson was a behaviorist. Number three, most modern psychologists consider themselves as belonging to a particular school of thought. True or false? This is false. You realize that modern psychologists do not really believe whether they belong to a particular school of thought or not, but they belong to a certain category, and all these schools of thought can be fused into different within different categories of psychology. So not one psychologist can really say I belong to a particular school of thought. Number four, theories are useful in psychology because they summarize and generalize specific observations. True or false? This is true. Theories are useful in psychology because they summarize and generalize specific observations within the discipline of psychology. Number four, the workings of the mind can only be known through observation of the behavior it controls. True or false? This is true. The workings of the mind can only be known through the observation of the behavior that it controls. We can only understand what is going on within the mind of an individual through the behavior that is exhibited by that individual or a particular organism. The zygote contains 23 chromosomes. True or false? Indeed, this is false. Number 7, a wild animal raised by human beings from birth can become as tame as a domestic animal. A wild animal raised by human beings from birth can become as tame as a domestic animal. True or false? This is false. Number 8, Sir Francis Galton was a staunch supporter of environmental determinism. True or false? This is false. Remember, Sir Francis Galton was a genetist, and he was not a supporter of environmental determinism. Number 9, the most outstanding difference among people are those that are environmental. True or false? This is true. The most outstanding difference among people are those differences that are determined by the environment and that are environmental. According to Bandura's theory of observational learning, performance is closely linked to instrumental learning. True or false? This is true. You realize that according to Bandura's theory of observational learning, performance is closely linked to instrumental learning, that is, instrumental learning observed within the environment and within that the environment that the organism operates on or within its own environment. Number 11, observational learning includes a combination of classical and instrumental learning. True or false? This is false. You realize that observational learning does not include the combination of both classical and instrumental conditioning. An example of a strong conditioned reinforcer is food. True or false? This is false. Number 12. In classical conditioning, the outcome is controlled primarily by the experimenter, but in instrumental conditioning, the outcome is controlled by the subject. True or false? This is true, because in classical conditioning, the outcome is controlled primarily by the experimenter, while in instrumental conditioning, the outcome is controlled by the subject, which means the subject is responsible for his or her own behavior, while in classical conditioning, the outcome is beyond the scope of the subject. An object, event, or energy that arouses a receptor and produces some effect on the organism is a stimulus. True or false? This is true. Any object, event, or energy that arouses a receptor and produces some effect on the organism is a stimulus, which is true. The conditioned response, CR, will disappear, that is extinction, unless the UCS is reintroduced, that is the unconditioned stimulus. True or false? This is true. The conditioned response will disappear unless the unconditioned stimulus is reintroduced. Most researchers agree that short-term and long-term memory decay at the same time. True or false? This is false. Most researchers do not agree that short-term and long-term memory decay at the same time. You realize that the characteristics of short-term memory and long-term memory are different from each other. So this is false. B.F. Skinner taught a few pigeons to play ping pong through his techniques of operant conditioning. Is this true or false? This is true. Indeed, B.F. Skinner taught pigeons to play ping pong through his techniques of operant conditioning. Number 18, recall, reconstruction, recognition, and relearning are all methods of measuring retention. Is this true or false? This is true. Recall, reconstruction, recognition, and relearning are all methods of measuring retention or improving one's memory. So this is true. Number 19, long-term memory is believed to have limitless capacity. True or false? This is true. Research currently believes that long-term memory has limitless capacity. Short-term memory encodes visual stimulation in linguistic and conceptual form. True or false? This is true. Short-term memory encodes visual stimulation in linguistic or conceptual form, which is true. Retrieval involves search and decision processes. True or false? This is true. Retrieval involves search and decision processes. Stimuli can never elicit both visual and verbal associations. True or false? And the answer is false. Stimuli can never elicit both visual and verbal associations. The thalamus is often referred to as the basal ganglion. True or false? This is true. The thalamus is also referred to as the basal ganglion. Broca's area is primarily involved in the motor control of speech. True or false? This is true. Broca's area is involved in the motor control of speech. The left and right hemisphere are separated by the central fissure. The left and right hemisphere are separated by the central fissure. True or false? I'll give you a few seconds to think whether this is true or false. The left and right hemisphere are separated by the central fissure. This is false. They are not separated by what is called the central fissure, but by the corpus callosum. So this is false. In higher animals, transmission of nerve impulses is usually two-way. In higher animals, transmission of nerve impulses is usually two-way. True or false? I'll give you a few seconds. This is false. In higher animals, transmission of nerve impulses is usually two-way. This is not true, so it's false. The cerebral cortex, that is the gray matter, is fully developed in men. True or false? I'll give you a few seconds. This is true. The cerebral cortex is fully developed in men. That is, when you compare the cerebral cortex of men and other animals like baboons and apes, you realize that this organ is fully developed in men, unlike in any other animals or mammals. Number 28, the nervous system is the major integrating mechanism of the body, since it controls the muscles and the circulation of the blood, as well as the secretion of various glands. True or false? The nervous system is the major integrating mechanism of the body, since it controls the muscles of the circulation of the blood, as well as the secretion of various glands. True or false? The answer is true. Indeed, the nervous system is an integrating mechanism of the body, since it controls the muscles as well as the circulation of blood and secretion of various glands. Number 29, the autonomic nervous system includes efferent nerves which go to the skeletal muscles. True or false? I'll give you a few seconds, or you can pause the video. This is false. The autonomic system includes efferent nerves which go. This is false. Number 30, the midbrain regulates breathing and the heart rate. True or false? The midbrain regulates breathing and heart rate. I'll give you a few seconds. This is false. The midbrain doesn't regulate breathing or the heart rate. The forebrain consists of cerebellum and its covering, the cerebral cortex, the thalamus, and the limbic system. True or false? This is true. The forebrain consists of the cerebellum and the cerebral cortex, the thalamus, and the limbic system. It's true. Number 32, a nerve is not a single neuron, but a bundle of axons or elongated dendrites belonging to many neurons. True or false? This is true. A nerve is not a single neuron, but a bundle of axons or elongated dendrites belonging to many neurons. So this is true. Number 33, informal communication is sometimes referred to as the grapevine. True or false? I'll give you a few seconds. Indeed, this is true. Informal communication is sometimes referred to as the grapevine. Cohesive groups are always more productive than non-cohesive groups. True or false? This is false. Cohesive groups are not always more productive than non-cohesive groups. Attitudes are learned dispositions that can be changed. However, many factors must be considered in attempting attitude change. True or false? This is true. Attitudes are learned dispositions that can be changed. However, many factors must be considered in attempting this attitude change. 36. The first step in developing a selection or a placement program is to conduct a job analysis. True or false? This is true. Job analysis is the first step in developing a selection or a placement program. 37. Psychologists use both structured and unstructured tests in trait assessments. Psychologists use both structured and unstructured tests in trait assessments. This is true. Both structured and unstructured tests are used by psychologists in trait assessments. 38. The average IQ falls in the range between 110 and 120. The average IQ falls within the range of 110 and 120. This is false. The average IQ does not fall within the stipulated range. Number 39. All people with IQs measured at 53 to 69 are mentally retarded. All people with IQs that fall within 53 and 69 are mentally retarded. True or false? Indeed, it's false. There is an almost perfect correlation between intelligence test scores and success in school. There is an almost perfect correlation between intelligence scores, test scores, and success in school. True or false? Indeed, this is false. There is no correlation between intelligence test scores and one's success in school. Number 41. Central tendency may only be found by determining the mean. Central tendency may only be found by determining the mean. True or false? This is false. Central tendencies cannot only be found by determining the mean. Standard deviation is the difference between the highest and the lowest scores. True or false? False. Standard deviation is not the difference between the mean, the highest, and the lowest scores. Reliability indicates the relationship between test scores and something we wish to predict. Reliability indicates the relationship between test scores and something we wish to predict. True or false? False. Number 44. The normal curve is symmetrically showing the same slope to the left and its highest point as it does to the right. The normal curve is symmetrical, showing the same slope to the left of its high point as it does to the right. True or false? True. Number 45. An example of covert psychological variable would be sex. An example of a covert psychological variable would be sex. True or false? False. Number 46. Sigmund Freud was a neurologist before he became a psychoanalyst. True, false? I'll give you a few seconds to think about this one. Sigmund Freud was a neurologist before he became a psychoanalyst. The answer is true. He was a neurologist before he ventured into psychoanalysis, before he began to write about his theory in psychoanalysis. Number 47, which is the last one. There are three types of neurons, namely sensory, motor, and interneurons. True or false? I'll give you a few seconds. Indeed, this is true. There are three types of neurons, namely sensory, motor, and interneurons. You realize that sensory neurons are responsible for carrying messages between sense organs, and motor neurons between the nervous system and the muscles, and interneurons are the ones that play a pivotal role in connecting both sensory and motor neurons. So there are three types of neurons. So this statement is indeed true. We've come to the end of this video, and I would like to thank you for spending your time with me, interacting and talking about psychology. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, I urge you to subscribe. And if you are a returning subscriber, and if you have any issues, comments that you might want to share with me, anything that you might feel can help me improve the content of this channel, you are free to write under the comment section. And thank you.